Hi, Cece.
Hi.
Welcome to the PLT podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. How are you feeling? You've literally just flown in from Coachella.
Oh my goodness. I'm not going to lie. I'm slightly jet lagged. I'm seeing double right now, but it was worth it. It was a fun weekend. But yeah, you'll have to bear with me. I'm just kind of recovering at the moment.
It looked absolutely crazy. I can imagine why you might be feeling a little bit, let's say tired right now, a little bit jet lagged. You know, it's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot, but it was so much fun. Have you been to Coachella before?
I haven't been.
You have to get yourself
I feel
there,
like
girl.
PLT, come on. I need to go.
Next year.
Next year, that's it. We're going. So we're going to talk a little bit about you today and get to know everything about you, hopefully. Obviously, you are one of the UK's leading top influencers right now with fans absolutely worldwide. How did it all first start out for you?
Well, it definitely wasn't expected, let's put it that way.
Really?
But yeah, 100%. I mean, when did I start? It must have been nearly 5 years ago. I kind of decided to make a little Instagram page, and you know, I've dabbled in YouTube as well, but it was just kind of my side hobby whilst I was pursuing music. So I was in the studio, I was doing shows, and I was always asked, you know, how did you do your makeup, or what products are you wearing, what clothes, where's your outfit from? So basically I was like, well, it'd be cool if I just started a page or a blog. Not that anyone really knew 100% what blogging was at the time. Not even I did. I was like just putting random stuff online, and yeah, just kind of started from there. And then when you could do the 15-second little tutorials on Instagram, I was like, maybe I'll put my lipstick on Instagram and these little like videos and see how that goes. And then from there, it kind of got picked up, as well as doing a few little singing videos. It just kind of grew, and I didn't know where it was like coming from, or you know, where everyone was flooding in from, but it was just such a incredible, overwhelming feeling. And then it's just grown from there for the past 4 years with makeup, music and fashion.
With everything. I actually can't believe I didn't realise that you were kind of singing at the beginning, because I thought singing, I've known for a long time you've got an incredible voice, and I know that you're into it, but I didn't realise it came from the beginning. I thought, so here's what I thought, this is always funny. Have you ever done a perceptions video?
No.
So a perceptions video is on YouTube, isn't it? Where people say like, your perceptions of me. This is mine of you.
Oh.
I thought you were a makeup artist.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I bet everybody thinks that, because you're
Everyone thinks
incredible at makeup.
Everyone thinks that I was a makeup artist, and then because I had a platform, I decided to sing, and people liked it, so I decided to carry on doing that. But actually, I've been a singer-songwriter for over 10 years.
Oh my God.
So yeah, since I was like, well, I went to college and did performing arts, and I thought I was maybe going to be in the West End and doing theatre shows, but I was still doing lots of songwriting back then. And then when I graduated, I was like going to auditions, and I met my previous manager when I was about 17, started going backwards and forwards to LA to record an album.
Wow.
And yeah, and then a few years after into that, I mean, the music industry is slow and unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's when I thought, well, shall I start an Instagram? Everyone seems to kind of be jumping on social media at the moment, and it was still very early days. And yeah, so that was just kind of like my side thing to all the music and everything like that. So yeah, it's funny though, because I was doing different jobs as like a means to an end in makeup. So I was doing makeup for weddings, and I was still doing jobs for, it's funny because back in the day, I actually went on tour as a makeup rep for Maybelline. When I was like 18, I toured around just like, I think it was like the Dream Matte Mousse days, and I was like, try the Dream Matte Mousse, and now I'm like a face of Maybelline, which is kind of crazy 10 years later.
How insane.
So yeah, that's kind of crazy when I've kind of actually say that out loud. But
so you're basically a woman of many talents.
Well, I've got too many hobbies, actually. That's pretty much me to a T.
So you mentioned before your lip tutorials.
Oh, yeah.
They're iconic. You kind of blew up from them, would you say? That's kind of how I see it. So they are something that I feel like you're known for.
Definitely.
Everybody is obsessed with them. Did you realise what you'd created when you first created it?
I actually had no idea. I'm quite confident in saying I think I'm one of the first to ever have done a lip tutorial, but I had no idea that it would kind of snowball into what it is now, to the point where 5 years later, you know, everyone is kind of doing it and their own versions, and it's amazing to see. And yeah, it's funny because I get stopped in the street and people say, I recognise your lips, and I'm like, that's so funny.
That's actually something I was going to say, because when you look on Instagram, obviously there's a lot of like pages that share different makeup people's, you know, work.
Yeah.
Even if it's not from your page, I can recognise your lips.
That's
I'm at that
hilarious.
CC Clarke's. I'll go details to see if they tagged her. Yes, that's CC Clarke's. Like,
Thank you.
they are literally iconic. You're recognisable through them.
Hilarious. But yeah, what have I started? My goodness.
When did it all start to blow up for you? Was it straight away, or how long did it sort of take?
It was when I started to catch on to trends. So this would be my biggest advice as well for young girls that want to kind of exceed in the industry, is to kind of pick up on trends, and then when something works or you get traction from it, don't stop doing that. So that's what I saw. I kind of did a lip tutorial, and I mean, it still is the trend now, kind of. It's dying out a little bit, but everyone wanted plump lips. Do you remember Kylie Jenner suddenly had these lips?
It's still a thing.
They came out of nowhere, and we were like, how did she get those lips?
It was the overlining.
Well, she said that.
Well, yeah, that's what everyone said.
But people thought she used these little like lip plumper contraptions.
God,
so I actually imported loads of these lip plumpers and did a tutorial. So they like stimulate the blood to your lips and make your lips look like plumped up. And I did a little tutorial on that because I thought I would rather recommend, you know, lining your lips or doing something that's temporary rather than doing anything that's going to be injecting your lips or changing your looks for good, because makeup is fun, but you start getting into the surgery and that's, you know, it's a dangerous field. So I started doing that, and then basically when I was catching on to different trends of celebrities, it kind of grew from there. So pages like Huda Beauty and the viral makeup pages were like, oh my goodness, look how you know, Cece managed to get this with just makeup and a lip tool. So that was just one of the elements that kind of started it. But from there, then it was wigs next. Yeah. People thought I was changing my hair colour every week, and they were like, how's your hair not falling out? And then a few months later, I was like, sorry to fool everyone, but it's just wigs.
We're going to talk about them a little bit later on, but I'm going to carry on with your makeup for a minute and your YouTube. So there's so many makeup gurus, let's call it, on YouTube at the minute.
Definitely.
But you have a very loyal fan base.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think you've made yourself stand out and create this crazy, amazing fan base?
I think it's hard to know, really, because I've kind of just tried to be myself, and I just, I feel like maybe that's why a lot of my followers and people connect, because they can kind of see that I want to really go somewhere rather than I don't know where I want to go. But at the same time, I want to bring everyone along with me. So whether that's creating music, creating looks, or, you know, fashion, or bringing people along on my travels that I'm so lucky to be able to go on. It's just all fun, really, but maybe that's why. I'm not sure. I can't 100% answer, but it
sounds like you've built a community because you've been so loyal to your fans, giving them what they want. You're giving them a mixture of content. You've created kind of a community for yourself, which is incredible. So well done, you.
Oh, thank you.
And I think a question I have to ask, because every girl is dying to know, I'm sure you've probably said it a few times, but it could change. Along with the lip tutorials, what's your favourite lip product?
It is a really hard one to answer, and I think at the moment the answer would probably be different, but as kind of like an iconic staple, I think, and along with the fact that Huda Beauty has supported me from day one and definitely has been, you know, a big part of helping me grow as well, just on the beauty side of it. I think when she released her liquid lipsticks, it was a game-changing moment, not only because, you know, you've suddenly, she had suddenly gone from leading beauty influencer in the world, turned her whole audience into, she turned her company into an empire, basically, and her brand into an empire. But the formulation was the best formulation I'd ever tried in a liquid lipstick, and I was like, this is just unbeatable. And I feel like there's been a lot of competition since, but just the sheer fact of like the excitement and how I felt, and then I got a PR package, and it was like one of the first PR packages that I'd ever got. It was just really exciting for me. So her first ever range of liquid lipsticks, I feel, for me, was like unbeatable. And there's one shade that's my favourite, and it's called Bombshell. So that's probably my favourite, but because it's got like a bit of a story behind it as well.
What's the story behind it?
Well, no, that is the story.
That's the story
that is the story.
I thought you meant the shade had a story behind it. I was like, okay, what's the story?
No, but I mean, there's probably loads of stories for Bombshell.
Okay, well, I am definitely going to go out and buy Bombshell for 100%. Now, obviously, you are such a known beauty influencer, but who do you look up to in terms of beauty? I know that you recently met Rihanna.
Oh, my goodness. Right.
Tell me.
Actually, do you know what? She is definitely she is probably my biggest icon because of the fact that she's an icon in music, she's an icon in fashion, and then beauty.
Oh my God, it's you.
It's literally like everything that I aspire to ever be is Rihanna. I mean, who doesn't want to be Rihanna?
Yeah.
But that's definitely one of the biggest highlights in my whole career, the fact that I was one of 10 people invited to meet her 2 weeks ago, was it? And I just couldn't believe it. And it wasn't like just a meet and greet. She spent the whole night with us.
Wait, you partied with her as well, didn't you? I saw the videos and I was like, oh my God, people are dancing with Rihanna.
She introduced herself, then she gave us like this bag and she was like, okay, I've got like different rooms to take you around to. So we went to play beer pong and then we were dancing together. I was on her team and she won and it was great. And then we went to another room. She was like, okay, now we're going to the karaoke room. We're all singing Spice Girls, like spice up your life. It was amazing. Her karaoke song, by the way, is The Boy Is Mine, if anyone wanted to know that.
The Boy Is Mine. Oh my God. I literally wanted to know that.
But yeah, it was definitely one of the biggest highlights of my career because obviously she's someone I look up to hugely and I just couldn't even believe that she'd wanted to meet me, but it was really amazing to see the recognition that she was giving back to people that had helped grow her brand and just the people that she'd respected in the industry as well. It was incredible.
I'm sure you
still
won't forget
pinching
that.
myself because as a girl growing up that couldn't afford makeup, I'd literally save up for weeks with my £1 pocket money a week to buy the one, MAC lipstick to then be, have the chance to actually meet the creators of this makeup, let alone try this makeup is incredible. And Rihanna, she is like, she's up there. She's the queen of the world.
She's pretty amazing.
I was like, well, who would be bigger than Rihanna? I mean, I literally think that she's the best thing ever. I love her.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah,
what an experience. Okay, and we spoke about your wigs just before. So, okay, tell me about it. How did you first decide I'm going to start making wigs?
Do you know what? I think from early on, I was like, if I'm going to be doing this, I really wanted to turn it into something that I could do as a job. Yeah. And for me, that is, again, another big piece of advice I would give to anyone. If you love doing something, try and make it your job. Like, try and, do what you love and earn money from it, because we've all got to go to work at the end of the day. And I think for me, I was wearing these wigs and they were human hair and very expensive. I was saving up for months to buy just one wig or doing 20 posts for a company that would, let me have one. And I just thought, you know what, I'd love to create a range that would be accessible and affordable for young girls, because I felt so guilty wearing these wigs that were so expensive and young girls couldn't afford them. Yeah. I could barely afford them. So I thought, how could I do this? So I was just Googling what factories can I find, and after months I kind of created a small range of synthetic wigs and used a bit of my savings to create a range. And then just said, I teased for a few weeks like wearing one of the colours, and then said, actually, surprise guys, this is a wig and you can all get it. So and then they started to sell, and it's been nearly 3 years that I've had a wig line for now, and it's just a bit of fun really. I've enjoyed it and people still love them to this day. Amazing. So I feel like wigs are more accepted now, whereas before people were too scared or would only wear them for fancy dress purposes. But again, I was wearing the wigs and then I was like, thank you, Kylie. She started wearing wigs and I was like, this is brilliant. This is definitely going to go somewhere now. So people are enjoying that still. So I'm pleased about that.
And what first got you into wearing wigs?
I've always been... Is
it the colours?
Absolutely been obsessed with switching my looks up all the time. So I was dyeing my hair all throughout my teenage years. I've been blonde, blue, green, red,
I've seen the green, I love it.
Every colour, and I was dyeing my hair that colour, and I was like, this is actually going to wreck my hair. So as soon as I discovered that I could wear a wig and it could look somewhat realistic, I thought, why would I dye my hair anymore? even though, you know, it's still tempting to switch your look up even on your natural hair, it's definitely very protective. So that's kind of what made me want to do it, just the fact that it was easy and non-damaging. So yeah.
Is there anything you can't do?
Oh, have you tried a wig? We're going to get a wig on you.
Do you know what? I haven't, but I'd love to. The amount of times I see people like even going from like long hair to short, like a bob, I'm like, I don't want to cut all my hair off, but I'd love a bob for tonight.
Right, we need to try
I feel like I need to try it. I'm going to do it.
Wig party is on the cards.
Please, we've got to do it.
Definitely.
Okay, now I want to talk about Fyre Festival.
Oh my goodness.
So let's talk about that. You were one of the influencers that actually got flown out to Fyre Festival, expecting Coachella times a million.
I know.
Coachella on steroids, and
Literally.
what you got was kind of the opposite, wasn't it?
I mean, it was the opposite. Yeah. When I was asked to kind of promote the festival, be a part of it. Originally, I felt honoured because I'd seen the advert and I was like, Hailey Bieber, Bella Hadid.
Kendall.
Yeah, Kendall. And I was like, I can't believe. I think I was the only UK influencer that had been asked to be a part of, you know, being there and being a part of it. So I was like, wow, this is, you know, an honour. I mean, they're obviously the biggest supermodels in the world. So they know what they're doing. Yeah. They're going to be covered. So I thought, sounds great. There's always going to be a first of everything. There's going to be a first Coachella. There's got to be a first, you know, UK festival, whatever. So I was like, yeah, this sounds good. And what a shambles it was. Yeah, so I was flown out, managed to get there. I was actually at Coachella the week before, so I hadn't had a huge chance to really look at too much online. But like the week leading up to getting to Fyre Festival, there was a lot online, and I hadn't really been on my phone much. The only content I was doing was just at Coachella and uploading, and the signal was bad. So the next thing I knew, I was on the plane going to the Bahamas, and everyone on the plane was like, I mean, this was supposed to be a private jet, but I wasn't bothered. It was just a normal plane. We were on it,
just
and
going along with it.
I was just like, you know, I'm off to the Bahamas, I can't complain. And someone next to me said, so I wonder if it's going to go ahead then. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, have you seen like the news and all of these fire fraud sites? And I was like, no, I haven't seen anything. Like, I thought it was all going ahead. And they said, no, it looks like what everyone was supposed to have and what everyone had paid for, like the villas, had now turned into tents, hurricane tents or something. Yeah, I was like, well, I'm supposed to be in a villa, are you? And then he was like, yeah, I'm supposed to be in a villa, but it seems like people are getting there and being shipped off to these little tents. And I was like, oh my goodness. So we got there and it was a bit of carnage. There was people, you know, kicking up a fuss, and, you know, rightly so, didn't really know what was going on. And I just said, well, I am one of the influencers that's supposed to be here and be going to one of the villas. And they just said, oh, we'll take you to the tent now. And I was like, oh, I saw the tents. I don't think I'm supposed to be staying in one of those. I don't think anyone is supposed to be staying in one of those. And they said, oh no, everyone is. And anyway, I was like, oh my goodness, mortified, like that anyone was being put in these tents, because they were blowing away on the beach. And I was like, oh my goodness, please no, what is going to happen? And somehow me and a few others, I followed some people onto this bus, and they said, we're going to the cruise ship. And I was like, okay. So another long story short, really, we ended up getting onto a cruise ship, and they let 30 people on, and then they said, we're not letting any more people on until the cruise ship is paid for. But the actual, well, Billy McFarlane, who kind of planned it, hadn't paid the cruise ship. So then we were trapped on the cruise ship, and they wouldn't let us off. They wouldn't let us off for nearly 4 days. So
why?
Basically because they weren't being paid. So they got us on there, and then basically...
But that's not your fault. You can't be kept on a ship.
This is a whole nother story that wasn't even shown on the documentary. So I could see all the tents on the beach, and I could see... we kind of got signal here and there on our phones, and were looking to see how people were on the island. But yeah, it was too far to swim to the island. We were trapped on the boat. It was like... we were claustrophobic. There wasn't a swimming pool. It was either burning hot sun on the top deck, or, you know, we're in our tiny little cabin. But, you know, I can't complain because people are still on people are still on the beach in the tents, but either way, I wouldn't have wanted to be in either situations. They were both very like scary situations, and yeah, I felt absolutely awful for everyone involved, but we managed to kind of get off after the 4 days, get onto the island, and see how people were, and we had to just fend for ourselves as well and find a place to stay. And people were so nice, actually. Lots of hotels and people had taken random groups into their own villas and their own hotel rooms. There was people sleeping on the floor, people having free food and meals at hotels that were helping out anyone that obviously thought they were being fed and had bought this, paid a few £1,000s for their wristband that didn't.
A few £1,000.
It's like crazy, yeah. But it was a bit of a whirlwind. I feel like it's a lot of lessons learned. Like this was, it's a few years ago now, and I feel like now I would definitely. I mean, there's not much more I could have done to look into it other than just to see the credibility of who was promoting it in the first place. But for sure, I definitely feel like that is a lesson learned for everyone, to really be sure that it's a credible thing. But I think they believed that it was going to go ahead. Yeah. I think even to the last minute, they felt like it was going to go ahead. But to be honest, there's actually a whole nother part that people don't know about the pigs. So obviously you heard about on the documentary the lady that didn't get paid for all the catering and everything, and there was GoFundMe pages, so she managed to actually get compensation for that. But actually, after we got off of the boat, we met the owner of the pigs, and he didn't own them, but had been feeding them from a young age, and they're just on an island, and he was taking people on excursions to see them each day. Just a few people, so they were never distressed. They were happy as anything when we managed to see them a few days later. However, a few days previous to that, they were being really mistreated by the angry islanders and the angry Fyre Festival, kind of the people that had gone there hoping for the festival, and they'd managed to find the island, were throwing the piglets around. So he took them off the island, took them to his house, and then people got really angry, and he had a brand new boat, and he went to work the next day to obviously still take people on excursions around the island, and his boat had been burnt down. I know, it's so awful. And I was like, oh my goodness. And he'd obviously spent all of his money on this brand new boat, and that wasn't touched on, and no one's done a crowd fund for him on that at all.
That's horrific,
which is awful. And we got to know him. He was so lovely. He managed to borrow his dad's speedboat, and we actually stayed on the island this is me and my husband, for another week, just to kind of experience the island. We couldn't get off it anyway because the flights were being cancelled left, right and centre, so we managed to we made some friends and stayed in their room basically. But so we made friends with this guy Justin, who owned Exuma Sports, and was taking people around on his dad's speedboat that he'd borrowed. But then not only that, but a week after we had left, so we were teaching these little piglets to swim. Once he'd put them back on the island, we were like checking they're all okay, and he was like, they're all fine now.
So they were all okay?
They were all okay. We were teaching little Batman to swim, a tiny little piglet, because they love the water. I think because it's hot, and they go in the shade, and then when they go into the sun, they go into the water. But then, this is really sad. So prepare yourself.
I do.
But basically, he texted us a week later, and I was like, how are the pigs? Are they okay now? And he was like, no, someone came in and got Batman and tied him to the jetty and drowned him, because they were so angry at the whole Fyre Festival situation. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it's just the worst thing. I was like, they don't, like, that's so unfair. No matter what happens, a failed festival, no one deserves to have their boats burnt down, pigs, being killed or anything like that. And I was like, this has gone too far. And they didn't even touch on things like that on the documentary. And I just think that I was going to do a video on it, but I just thought, I don't really know how to put it across in a way that is going to be palatable, really. But so that was, now a bit of time has passed. I feel like it's definitely something that should be known, but it is what it is. He's gone. He said he's bounced back, and you know he's taking care of the pigs as well as he can. But it's crazy, isn't it? So that was an absolute nightmare of a kind of events. But yeah,
do you know the first thing of throwing them has really, really got to me. The first thing of throwing them pigs around to do that, I'm sorry, is absolutely. I'm not sorry. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
I can't believe that people were driven. Well, how can they be driven to that over a festival? The whole situation now. I feel compassion towards you and to everybody that was in that situation. I feel it's horrific. And whatever happened, that was horrific. But that is disgusting.
There's no doubt about it. I would, you know, and I don't actually know who did that. It might have been angry islanders. It might have been angry people that were, you know, supposed to be enjoying the festival. I don't know. Either way, I felt sorry for everyone in every situation. No one wanted to be in any of those situations, but to suddenly start destroying things and, you know, harming creatures, I was like, this is just crazy, absolutely crazy. And things like that, the part of the most shocking things aren't even spoken about, and I'm like, oh my goodness. There's probably lots of other stories as well that maybe haven't been spoken about, that are personal stories that have happened to other people surrounding the whole of the Fyre Festival catastrophe. But that was my experience. I was there and yeah, it was crazy.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because I feel like it is important to shed light on these, because obviously the documentaries were made and you know, lots of different things. There was 2 documentaries and they were both kind of different. There was different point of views on each one. And you actually created a YouTube video.
Yes.
But it was before the documentaries came out, wasn't it? Was it like 2 days after you came back?
It was I kind of created it whilst I was there. So it was a bit of a
vlog.
Yeah, it was a vlog, but it wasn't really the right depiction of what had actually happened, because it was just me in the moment. Now I'm on the boat and now I'm doing this.
Yeah,
but
you're just capturing everything.
It wasn't a well-rounded view of everything that had happened, because it was just an in the moment kind of thing. So looking back, to be honest, I had no idea of what was going on the bigger scale. When I watched the documentary, even I was shocked at all of the other things, and the fact that it had gone that far without going ahead. So yeah, to be honest, that wasn't the most well-rounded view of my time or of what had happened, but I was just like, I need to let people know that what's going on as much as I can. But yeah. So
and you're in the moment, like when you're in the moment, especially like a vlog, you are capturing what's going on day to day.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't capture absolutely everything. You're just capturing little bits. Yeah. But you did actually receive quite a bit of negativity from that video, didn't you? To which you actually responded to. Yeah. And I think the response was brilliant. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think people were just, along with the fact that I'd said that I was an influencer that was promoting it, people were quite angry at the fact that I had kind of had a part of it. However, again, there was no way that I could have ever have known that it was you know, going to turn into that. And if I was paid I wasn't paid anything to promote it, by the way. I think that's very important to say. Wow. I was just only offered the opportunity to be there in exchange for taking pictures whilst there. Yeah. Obviously, I didn't end up doing that in the end. I ended up obviously just telling the truth about it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's important to say, because if I was paid anything, I would absolutely have put every penny back into whatever destruction was, you know, caused. But at the same time, it's hard to really say, because so many credible influencers and models and celebrities were part of the promotion, and it's not really fair to them for them to be bashed either, because again, no one knew. Everyone. I was then in the situation of being in a really dangerous situation too, and I felt for absolutely everyone. But yeah, I felt like I understood why people were angry, and it was obviously, it's hard to kind of take when you just feel so helpless and like it wasn't you know, my fault, but at the same time I understood why people were angry.
Well, I hope that people listening to this can see more of your side of the story, and I think they will through what you've just shared. So thank you very much for that. Yeah. Do you think that Fyre Festival has had an impact on the way you view social media and influencer marketing?
definitely. I think it's very rare that something like that would happen.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, there's always got to be a first of something, and you just would never really know that something's going to fall apart like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for sure, it's taught me to really be careful of what I get involved with or what I believe as well. It's definitely taught me to be aware, and if I'm going to be a part of anything or trust anything in the future, that I kind of want to see that it's happened and it's been a success already. But yeah, I think it's definitely a lesson learned. And as I said, it was early on in my kind of influencer journey as well. So it was something that kind of took me by surprise, and I didn't even have management at the time, so it was kind of a learning curve. I probably would have got better advice, or I mean, who knows, but definitely has taught me a lot and was a crazy experience.
It
all
sounds
in
like
all.
it. Well, thank you for sharing your experience with us.
No,
now, you mentioned, I let it slide, but you mentioned in there about your husband.
Oh, yes, I did.
CC Clarke, are you married? Because I didn't know. Hold on.
Do you know what? It really surprises me that...
I just called you your full name. CC Clarke, by the way.
I always do that. Call people by their full names or their Instagram handles. Yeah, loads of people don't know.
Wow.
And it really surprises me because... to me, it's just like I'm married, like someone's in a relationship. But I guess I don't share a lot online. I don't purposely keep it private.
Yeah.
But I just don't post loads. We don't do videos together. He comes on the trips with me, and he, is always there and supportive. But he's not like, he doesn't like his photos being taken. So we don't, I
that
guess from
this.
Yeah.
If you don't have to take his, does he take your pictures?
Yeah, he does actually.
I love that.
True Instagram husband. But so it's crazy. It's been nearly 7 years.
So when did you get married? How old were you?
So I just turned 20. So we were engaged at 19 and I was married by the time I was 20, which... yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, it's mental.
And people don't know about this.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
It's crazy. It was like the best and worst year of my life, to be honest. I learned a lot of lessons that year, and I was really lucky that both of our families were really supportive of it. We got engaged at 19. And I was like, well, if we're engaged, like we've been together for 3 years, so, and still it sounds crazy because we were so young. Saying it back then, people were like, are you okay? But now they're like, oh, well, it worked out.
Yeah, good on you.
But yeah, it was kind of crazy. But both of our families were really supportive.
Oh my God.
We both had come from like Christian families, so they were kind of happy for us to be moving in together and getting married and doing things traditionally. So that was very fine and all supportive. But yeah, it was a bit of a crazy year. It was a fun wedding and it was amazing. I'd do it totally differently now.
Tell me about the wedding. Come on, I want to know everything about you two.
To be honest, if I was to do it again now, I didn't even have an Instagram when I got married.
I was about to say, where's the pictures?
Yeah,
I
haven't posted
What was the dress
anything.
like?
The dress was like made from all family heirlooms. So like my great grandma's brooches and my grandma's pearl necklaces with my straps and things like that.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I really liked my wedding dress. I didn't really like my hair or what I was like. It's just very much, it's just not Instagram worthy. Do you know what I mean? But and also, even though it was an amazing day and it was so incredible to marry like my soulmate, and Buzzy has been so supportive, it was a bit of a dark time as well because basically, cutting a long story short, growing up my dad was actually in prison for most of my life, which I've never told anyone really, and I hadn't really seen him until I was about 12, and as a young girl, like I still idolised him and wanted a dad. Every young girl wants a dad. But I wanted to kind of put more emphasis on my mum, my grandma, my uncles that had brought me up. So, I was like trying to hold it together for them, and they were knowing that they were going to see my dad at the wedding and everything like that, and it had been years and they hadn't my mum and dad weren't together. But so the thought of my mum then coming face to face with my dad at the wedding kind of brought our family into a bit of a meltdown mode, to the point where my mum actually had a mental breakdown leading up to the wedding, was in hospital for 3 months. So this is leading up to the wedding and I'm thinking, is my mum going to be okay? Like, my dad is kind of, he's becoming a big issue for my family because they've not seen him for years. But as a young girl, I still wanted my dad to be a part of my wedding day, even though he'd caused my family that had really supported me a lot of heartbreak. But still, as a young girl, I was still young, of course, I was 19, planning a wedding. I was like, no, this will be the time when my dad will like be there for me as a real dad and support me. And anyway, again, long story short, my mum, my grandma, my uncles were absolute rocks and were kind of, loving me unconditionally. But my dad then said, I'll only come to your wedding if I can walk you down the aisle. And I was like, yeah, I guess you can. My mum was like, but I've brought you up. And again, all these clashes. My mum's in hospital, and it came round to it, and I was waiting for him the day of the wedding, and he didn't turn up. So it took me 20 years and 20 years to realise a lot of lessons, and getting married to actually learn the importance of my family that had really been there for me. So I really feel for anyone that's grown up with family members that have mental health, because my mum had suffered and I hadn't understood it, and I know that I'm definitely, there's so many people that have much worse stories than me, but for me this is all I know. And I am grateful for those lessons, but it was a dark time because, I was there waiting for him to turn up. He didn't turn up, none of his side of the family did, and then that was when I realised, wow, I've really learnt now who is here for me. And Buzzy was there supporting me, his family were there, my mum, and then my mum was well enough and she walked me down the aisle. And
I'm so glad.
Yeah, and actually from that day on, she got so much better. She's a different person now. She's so much better. So it's been 7 years and she's been living in a happy fairyland now, which is just so amazing. But yeah, so I learnt a lot of lessons that year, and it took 20 years to realise, who was really important in my life and who was there for me. And it took heartbreak, 20 years, and a marriage to realise, who was really, my absolute number ones. So, but I feel like when you're young, you kind of are busy and you don't know, for me, I just didn't understand mental health growing up. I couldn't understand why my mum was sad, or why she was getting angry at different things, or why she'd be annoyed that I'd want to see my dad, even though he was, absolutely tearing my family apart. And I was always, the type of girl that wouldn't be worried about anything. And, I got a bit nervous when I was doing shows or things, in front of people, but nerves are one thing, and anxiety and actual, panic is another. And for the first time ever in the past year, I've actually experienced that myself, and it suddenly makes your mind shift. So it takes you from actually trying to kind of understand it to actually kind of feeling it. And it's it's obviously not nice, but again, I feel like who doesn't suffer with anxiety in this world right now? It's kind of crazy. But
and with that, do you think it's ever something that you will, because I've never seen you speak about any of these, maybe not your past and the wedding, but do you think your anxiety or mental health is ever anything you will touch upon on your social media, on your channels, or is that you deal with that alone?
I definitely would be open to talking about it. I think for me, personally, I still am trying to figure out, to understand it myself. What brings it on, what makes it worse, what even is it? Is it panic? Is it anxiety? Or is it because it's like a sickness feeling? But again, people say, oh, is it because of the industry you're in? I'm like, I really don't know. So I guess I would talk about it more if I understood it more. Maybe talking about it more will help me understand it more. I don't know. But I think you're right.
Now on to your future and on to your music career. You brought out your single last year.
Yes.
What is next? Is there new music coming, Cece?
Oh my goodness, it's been too long, and I was so excited to bring out my first single. It was a huge moment. It went amazingly, but we've just been working on it pretty much non-stop since last year. We wanted to make sure we've got a few in the bag before we release the next one, but it's coming very soon. I've been in the studio, back and forth to different countries, working with different teams that have done amazing. I've worked with so many people in the charts and in the industry, so I'm hoping that it's going to be in the next month. So,
month.
Yeah.
Oh my God, get ready, listeners.
So, yeah, I'm
Everyone's
really
going to be buzzing
excited
for that.
my next single. So, yeah, that's going to be the next big thing that I hope
Amazing.
will do well.
And what can we expect from the track?
Well, I'm hoping it's between 3. So
Oh.
there's definitely going to be, they're definitely all going to be released.
Yes,
but it's going to be a bit more upbeat,
Okay.
soulful, but yeah, hopefully going to be a bit of a bop. So
I can't wait.
So yeah.
It's going to be a vibe.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
And you might even recognise a little part of it that takes a sample from an iconic track.
Oh
but
my God, I
just-
love it when songs
yeah.
do that. Oh my God,
Same.
I cannot wait.
So yeah, so stay tuned.
Stay
for
tuned,
that.
everybody. Everyone get ready. And a quick question. If you could collaborate with any female artist, I think I know the answer
Yeah,
to this one.
you
Who
already
would
know.
it be?
You already know.
Bitch better have my money.
Oh yeah. Riri. I
Rihanna.
mean, I should have just asked her the other week.
Oh my
shouldn't I?
God. Oh my God. Well, what you're gonna have to push your track to her, like, hey,
Well,
yeah, here's my
I've
track.
worked with her team in LA that have done a lot of her
Amazing.
songs. When was it? A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So you never know if she's back there with them, and I'll be like, can I pop by to the studio?
Riri, if you're listening, babes.
Yeah, Riri, you know, if you really want to collaborate with me, just say no.
Oh my God, let's make it happen.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be insane. But
Well,
yeah.
Cece, it's been amazing getting to know you
Oh my
today.
goodness.
Thank you so much for sharing everything that you have with us.
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed
Thanks for
getting to know you.
listening.
And we're now going to go on to the exclusive part of the podcast, which is sliding
Okay.
into your DMs.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching on YouTube, you will now need to click the link below and head to the exclusive part of our podcast. Thank you very much for watching. This has been CC Clarke.
Yay!